What is up, guys? It's Modern Warfare here, Gamertag Banjo Chicken, and welcome back to another computer tutorial. So in this tutorial we are once again looking at how to access admin accounts at, I don't know, home, work, school, college, wherever you are. If you need access to an account and it's password protected, or you're locked out of the administrator account that you want access to, then that is what we're covering in this video, how to access that. Now, I do have two other methods that I released a while ago. I made remakes of them, which is method 1 and method 2 on how to access admin accounts at work, college or school for Windows 7. The Windows 7 method's actually really good because it requires no extra tools and programs. It's really effective. Then method 2 does require some extra tools and programs like Linux software, but it again works really well and it works on every Windows operating system. This method is quicker than method 2, but again it requires tools and software like method 2. So, and it should work on, it works on Windows 7, it should work on Windows, well, it does work on Windows 8 and 8.1. Windows 10 I've not tried, Windows XP I've not tried, but it's definitely worth trying it. So this is method 3 essentially, and the whole idea of this and what we're trying to do here is get a command prompt open in the login screen. Sounds a bit weird, but if you can open a command prompt in the login screen like we are here, then that command prompt will not be restricted. Once you log into your standard user account and then open a command prompt, it's got lots of restrictions on it because you're not an administrator. Whereas if you open a command prompt in the login screen before you've actually logged into an account, there's no restrictions on the command prompt whatsoever, and you can pretty much do whatever you want. Change passwords, create new accounts, make them administrators, make your own account administrator, and all that good stuff. So what we need to do is change a process that we can open in the login screen to a command prompt. So any examples? Sticky keys. If you hit shift 5 times on your keyboard, it opens sticky keys. So that opens in the login screen. We could change that to a command window. This ease of access center here, we could change this to a command prompt because it can open in the login screen, or the on-screen keyboard. So this as well, as you can see, opens in the login screen. So we could change any one of these processes into a command prompt that we can then use to access administrator accounts or make or elevate our account to administrator. So first thing I'm going to do, and first thing you guys want to do, is go back to your home system, your home computer that is not restricted. So we'll head back to our home computer. And on our home computers, what we need to do is create a Windows repair disk for whatever operating system, the school or work computer, or whatever computer you're trying to access the admin accounts on, whatever operating system that computer is using. So if your operating system at home is the same operating system as the operating system on the computer that you're trying to gain admin access on, then what you can do on your home system is just head into your control panel, system and security, and backup and restore, and then create a system repair disk. You'll need a blank CD or DVD-ROM, -R or +R, or rewritable, it's up to you, and you can create a system repair disk from within Windows. However, if your operating system at home is different to the operating system on the computer you're trying to access admin accounts on, so you know you have Windows 8 and your college or work system you're trying to get admin access on uses Windows 7, then you can download the Windows 7 repair disk from the internet. I'll put links in the description to where you can download the software we're going to be using, and I'm going to put links to where you can download the repair disks in the description as well. I'll put a Windows 7 and a Windows 8 repair disk link in the description. So what we're going to do here is I've downloaded a Windows 7 repair disk to show you. So we can either mount it to a USB drive or a disk. So if we're going to do a DVD or a disk, which I kind of recommend, because especially if you're doing a work or college system, a lot of the time they password protect their boot options or their BIOS to prevent you from booting from a USB drive. Whereas a lot of the time they don't actually change the original boot order, and the boot order defaultly boots from a disk first. So you'll have more chance of success if you use a disk. But again, you know, if you're just doing this on like, you know, a home system that, you know, your parents have like blocked access to or something like that, then a USB drive will be fine. But I'll show you both anyway. So we're going to open up Image Burn, which will be in the description. Click on Write Image File to Disk. We're going to open up our Windows Repair image, whether it's Windows 8 or Windows 7, it's up to you. Depends on what operating system you try to access admin accounts on. And then what we're going to do is just put in your blank disk, select about 8 times write speed, and then click this button. It will not be grayed out when you put a blank disk in there. You'll be able to click it and then click the button, and that's it. You will be able to write the repair disk image to the disk. For a USB drive, you want to plug in a USB stick and run this Rufus program, which will be in the description. Then you want to make sure you set the file system to NTFS. On ISO image, you click this button and you want to open up Windows 7 or your repair disk image. In fact, this actually might be selected to something different, so make sure you select ISO image and then open up your Windows 7 or Windows 8 repair disk image, and then click Start, and that will mount that to the USB. It will also erase the USB, so make sure you don't have any important files on there before you do this. And that's it. That's how you basically get the repair image onto a disk or a USB at home. So once you have that, take that disk or USB stick into work, college, school, or whatever computer you're trying to access the admin accounts on. Alright, so when you're on the work, college, or school system, what you're going to want to do is obviously put in your disk into the disk drive, or plug in your USB stick with the repair disk image on it, restart the computer, and if you're using a disk, when the computer boots up, it should automatically say press any key to boot from DVD or CD, which it does right here, as you can see. But if I restart it, if you're booting from a USB stick, you will not get that message. You'll have to actually access the boot options. So when your computer boots up, you'll have a little BIOS screen that opens up. You can see mine is Oracle VirtualBox, and it says press F12 to select boot device. So it may be a different key for you. It might be delete, it might be F2 or F10 or F8. For this one it's F12, so if I press the F12 button, it gives me the boot options, and I would select USB. Obviously I don't have USB because this is an old-fashioned boot menu, but you would boot from the USB's drive. So I'm just going to restart again. Because I'm booting from a disk, it just automatically boots from the disk. So press any key to boot from the disk, and it will start the Windows repair process. Okay, so now that it has booted, what you want to do is select your keyboard layout and click Next, and it will search for Windows installations. Shouldn't take too long. And keep a note of the location, which is D, so the D drive is the location of the Windows installation. Click Next, and then select Command Prompt from the Options menu. And now what we're going to do, and let me just show you on a Windows 8 repair disk what you have to do, because the Windows 8 layout's a little bit different, but it's the same process. So when you open the Windows 8 repair disk, you select the troubleshooting options or troubleshoot option, and then select advanced options or advanced settings, and then command prompt at the top right, and that will get you to the same place. So back to Windows 7 here. From now on, this is exactly the same for Windows 8 and Windows 7. So on Windows, well, okay, there's one slight difference. We already know what drive the Windows installation is on Windows 7 because it told us that Windows 7 was on drive D. So if I press D and then semicolon and enter, it will put me onto the D drive, which is where the Windows installation is on. I don't believe the Windows 8 repair disk actually tells you what drive the Windows installation is on. So you'll need to figure that out yourself. And in order to do that, you type in WMIC logical disk get name, and that will list all the drive letters. So we've got C, D, E, and X. We know that X is the disk because that's what it defaultly put us to when we opened the command prompt. We were in the X drive, so that's the CD. So we've got three options. Just go through each one until you find the Windows installation. In order to find it, let's say I try C to begin with, type in dir, that will list all the directories in that drive. There's none, so it's not the C drive. And then let's try D and do the same thing with this one, dir, and we've got a Windows folder, users folder, program files. We know that this is our Windows installation directory. That's how you would tell on Windows 8, but luckily the Windows 7 repair disk already tells you what drive your Windows installation is on. So now what we need to do is navigate to the Windows System 32 directory. So to do that, we type in cd space and then in quotations Windows /system 32, then close quotations. And that takes us into Windows System 32 folder. And now what we're doing is the exact same thing we did in method 1 and 2. If you haven't watched that, then don't worry about it. But if you have watched it, we're doing the same thing where we're going to rename, we're basically going to try and swap out one of those processes that we can open in the login screen to a command prompt. So what the process I'm going to use is utilman.exe, which is the ease of access center. You can also use osk.exe, which is the on-screen keyboard, and you can also use sethc.exe, which is the sticky keys. So here's how we do it. So I'm going to do utilman.exe, which is that ease of access, that little button in the bottom left corner of the login screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in, first thing we need to do is rename the original utilman.exe to something different so the computer doesn't open it when we click the button. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in ren for rename or rename, whichever. I think both commands do the same thing. So type in ren space utilman.exe. So that's the process that we're going to be renaming, and then select utilman1 or a different name.exe. So what we're saying is that we are taking the utilman.exe and we are renaming it to utilman1.exe, just so it has a different name. Press enter, that renames it. Now what we're going to do is make a copy of the command prompt, which is cmd.exe, and we're going to have that renamed to utilman.exe. So to do that, we're going to type in copy cmd.exe and then utilman.exe. So what that's doing is it's making a copy of cmd and it's pasting it as utilman.exe. Press enter, one file's copied. So now what we have essentially done is we have replaced the normal ease of access center with a command prompt. So now when we click the button to open the ease of access center, it will open a command prompt that is fully privileged. Now you might be wondering, well, why don't you just change the user accounts now? Because you've got a command prompt open right now that seems to have perfectly fine access. Well, the problem is, if I type in net users, our user accounts don't show up. I believe that this is the accounts that are on the disk, possibly. But if you try and change any of, if you try and change this administrator account or anything like that, it doesn't affect your actual Windows installation at all. So that's why you can't use this command prompt to do all the password resetting and stuff. You have to actually do that in the login screen. So now that we have done that, we have got our command prompt as utilman.exe. We can just shut down the computer. So shutdown -R for restart, -T for time, 0 seconds. So it'll instantly restart the computer. Press enter, and that's going to restart. Again, same thing we did. Windows 8 is exactly the same. So I'm not going to press any key this time because I want it to just boot from the hard drive as normal. And it will start Windows. Okay then guys, here we are. So I've booted up the computer and we're going to click the ease of access button. And there we go. It opens up a command prompt instead of the ease of access if you did everything correctly. Remember, you don't have to use utilman.exe. You can use osk, on-screen keyboard, or sethc, which is sticky keys. It's up to you which one you want to use, which one works best for you. So what we're going to do is just going to clear that text. So this command prompt, because we're opening it before we've logged in, we have full access to everything. So we can change user accounts and whatnot. So if we type in net users, that lists all the users on the computer. We've got administrator, guest, and my account. My account's a standard user account, so you know I've got restricted access basically, and the administrator account is locked off. So if I type in administrator And the password, I have no idea what the password is, so I'm not going to gain access to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to, first of all, change the administrator password. Or in fact, no, let's do this smarter. So the best way to do this on a work or college system is to create a brand new account and make it administrator. Because if you change the default administrator password, then the problem with that is the admins that actually access that account are not going to be able to get back into it. And yeah, they're going to be wondering what the hell's going on. We can't access our account. If you do it to your own account and you elevate your own account to administrator, again, it's a bit more suspicious because why is this one account administrator? Not that they would easily be able to tell that, but it's possible. So the best way to do it, in my opinion, is to create a brand new account and make it administrator, and then you can disable or delete the account whenever you want, or re-enable it whenever you want. So that's what we're going to do. So to create a brand new account, we just type in net user, then a username. I'm just going to use new admin as an example. You would use something that's less conspicuous than that. So net user, new admin, then a password, and then space /add, and that creates a brand new account. So we've basically created a new user account called new admin with a password of hello123. But it's a standard user account. We need to elevate it to an administrator. We type in net local group administrators. And then the user account name, which was new admin in quotations, and then /add. That's going to add the account to the administrators group. So now if I type in that new admin and password was hello123, there we go. I have access. I've been able to access the computer, and not only access the computer, but I'm on an administrator privileged account. So I've logged in. You see I'm on the new admin account. I'll just go into control panel, system and security, actually no, user accounts and family, user accounts. You can see new admin, and I am an administrator. So that's one way of doing it. But hey, what if you're watching this video because you just need to reset a password on your own account? Well, that's pretty easy as well. So we'll use the administrator account as an example for this. So the administrator account, it's password protected. So how do we remove the password on an account? Again, really easy. Make sure you're opening this command prompt in the login screen before you've logged in and not after you logged in, because it will be restricted by then. So make sure you open it in the login screen. And you're just going to type in net user, the username of the account that you want to reset the password on, which for me is the default administrator account, space, and then hold down the shift key and press the 8 button, or the 8 key, and then that will give you the little star or times icon. Press enter. It'll say type a password for the user. Just press enter and then type a password for the user, enter. That removes the password completely. So if I just type in administrator, oh, username or password is incorrect. Admin, can't spell for shit today. So enter, and normally it would give you access. For me, it's saying your account has been disabled. Please see your system administrator. So if you're just resetting a password on a normal account, that will have worked. But if you're doing this on a work or college system, I recommend you actually put a password for the administrator account, so just not anybody can log into it. And secondly, if the account is disabled, then you could re-enable it by typing in net user administrator, or the account name, /active, semicolon, and then yes. And that re-enables the account if it's disabled. So now I should just be able to log in by pressing enter, because I reset the password and I re-enabled the account. And I now have access to the administrator account. So I'm now on the default administrator account, which is of course a local administrator of the computer. So there you go, that's how you do it. But like I say, I highly recommend that you actually go ahead and put a password on that account if you're doing it at work or college, so that nobody can just randomly log into the admin account without any restrictions. So yeah, what else? Well, you can make your own account administrator. That's fairly simple as well. So to make your own account administrator, you just type in net local group administrators in quotations your user account name, and then /add, and that just adds your account to the administrators group. So you can do that. Okay, so we're almost done. So final thing is, how do we actually get rid of this now? So how do we change everything back? This is something people were asking me before. How do we change it back? So the way to easily change things back, again, if that new admin account we created, you can easily disable it again by typing in net user new admin /delete. If you do that, that deletes the whole account. So there you go, leave no traces, delete the entire account. Or you can just disable the account by doing pretty much the same thing. You just do /active and then no, and that disables the account. So you can either disable the account once you're done with it, or delete it completely. It's up to you, or just leave it on there, because there's probably it's just on the local machine. It's highly unlikely people are actually going to discover it anyway. So you could just leave it on there and you should be fine. So there's that. That is pretty much everything. Last thing, how do you actually change everything back to normal after you've done this? Well, you could go back into the system repair disk and delete utilman.exe or whatever process you made command prompt, and then rename utilman1 back to utilman, and that'll change everything back to normal. Just reverse what you did. Or the easiest way is to just, in the login screen, type in sfc /scan now. What that's going to do is it's just going to scan the entire computer for any inconsistencies, anything that is out of place or corrupted or damaged files on your Windows folder or in your Windows folder, and it will find that, you know, utilman is not correct, it's not the right size, and it will see that as a problem, and then it will fix it. So when you next restart the computer, once the scan completes, you restart the computer and it should be back to normal. You'll click this button and it will go back to ease of access again. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Or again, like I said, you can go back on system repair disk and reverse what you did. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. I hope this helped you. It's cool that we found another method to do this. It may not be the best method for you, so please go ahead and check out part 1 and method 1 and method 2, which show you different ways of doing it. Kind of the same thing where you try and get the command prompt in the login screen, but different ways to actually do that. So the Windows 7 way is method 1, which requires no extra tools and software. Very good method. Method 2 uses a Linux-based operating system. Again, it's a good method. It works on pretty much all Windows operating systems. And yeah, this method seems to work absolutely fine for Windows 7 and Windows 8, and should work for 8.1 and Vista and pretty much most other Windows operating systems as well, as long as you can get repair disk for them. Then that should be fine. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like if you liked the video or found the information useful in any way. That would be awesome. And go ahead and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Comment with any of your questions, and I'll see you guys in the next video.